Hi, I'm astrologer and life coach Penny Dix. Welcome to tonight's live video stream for all the energies for the forthcoming full moon in Cancer. Excuse me. The full moon is actually on between the 17th and the 18th of January. In Central European time, it's just on the 18th. So I thought this year I would do these videos a few days before so that you have the heads up on what energies to expect over the days leading up to that full moon and the days beyond. So I'd just like to say at this point, thank you to Gozo in the House, the online digital magazine, for hosting this event. And do check it out, it's absolutely brilliant. So, a full moon again, the first full moon of 2022. How has 2022 been treating you so far? January 2022. I mean, there's a lot of people in the world who are having, well, people in high places who are having quite tough times. But I'll come to that a little bit later. So let's look at this full moon, because I feel this is a moon where we have to step up or step down. Now you will have to interpret what that means to you or for you. Bearing in mind this is a full moon in Cancer, and I'm going to talk about the Cancerian energies in a minute. So with this full moon, we have the Sun in Capricorn, which is the sign opposite to Cancer. The Sun is conjunct Pluto. Now, Pluto is our planet of transformation. And the Sun is a masculine energy. Pluto is also about change. It's about breaking down the old order. And as I go through my feelings about this full moon, I think you'll get the gist of what I'm talking about. So, first of all, there are some tough energies around this full moon, because we've got retrograde Mercury. It went retrograde today, the 14th, because I'm recording this or streaming it live on the 14th. Mercury is retrograde, and it's also at the moment conjunct Saturn. Saturn is our planet of restriction, of rules, of law, and Mercury, of course, is about communication, amongst other things. So with this combination of Mercury and Saturn right together in Aquarius, which is about the internet, amongst other things, there can be tough talk about rules and regulations and the reviewing of such rules. I think it's interesting that today there was a cyber attack on the Ukraine. And this, for me, speaks volumes about the Mercury retrograde and being conjunct Saturn. Saturn is rigid, it doesn't want things to change. And we can make of that what we will. Now, we've also got the planet, the dwarf planet Aries, who is the goddess of strife and discord. And this planet is making a hard angle, a square, to the full moon. So this can indicate rebellious behavior. And this could be about the continued enforced restrictions in whatever part of the world you're watching. The other interesting thing is that Neptune, our planet of smoke and mirrors and mystery, is making actually quite a nice kind of trine. It's a nice angle. It's a gentle, helpful angle to this full moon. But it's almost like it's setting off a smoke machine. So it's kind of like it's making it hard to find the truth in the various topics that we have on our own personal agendas and also on the agendas of the kind of world stage. And I can think of 3 situations and 3 people which may be greatly affected by this full moon and the transformational and necessary change that's needed to change the old order. And you know, those in power may find that the protection of the ranks is not so easy under the light of this very powerful full moon. I certainly think this is a full moon of a change in status. But, however, I'll add a kind of caveat to this because I think misleading information could be part of the cause of this. Due to this Neptunian smokescreen, which I mentioned earlier. But let's come back to basics, because let's look at what Cancer energy actually represents, because this is where the moon is full. And, you know, the moon is going to be full here. I saw the moon come up tonight, and it's on the kind of cusp of moving into Cancer, but it's not quite there. But it's right at the end of Cancer when it turns full. So think of the crab, because this is a living being, a crustacean, that has a hard shell which disguises its inner softness. You know, Cancer cares deeply, and Cancer suffers because of this. Cancer's the mother, and the moon, which is full in Cancer, is the ruler of Cancer. Cancer will try to avoid conflict, so like the crab will kind of step sideways. The sun in Capricorn is shining very, very fully on this moon. And because the sun is conjunct transformative Pluto in Capricorn, Pluto changes governments, Pluto changes worlds. Pluto probably changes universes. There's no hiding place for the crab, this full moon, at this time. It's step up or step down. The Capricorn energies are reinforced by this sun conjunct Pluto. And the sun represents the masculine. So I'm just going to leave that to your collective imagination about masculine energies having to step up or step down or step away. We also need to look at the fact that Uranus, our planet of disruption, the unexpected, the unpredictable, ends its retrograde phase in Taurus on the 18th, which is just after this moon turns full. So I think we need to expect the economy to be in the headlines, as I do feel world events may cause unpredictable fluctuations, especially as the world starts looking towards the tensions in the East, in the Ukraine, for one. The other interesting energy at the moment is that the North Node, which is this angle which I've talked about in some of my other videos, it's this kind of pointed space between the Earth, the Moon and the Sun, and it's where we get eclipses because it's like the ecliptic path. So the North Node is actually moving into Taurus, and that's on the 19th. So a lot of packed energy. We've had Mercury going retrograde on the 14th today. We've got the full moon on the 17th, 18th. we've got retrograde Uranus going direct on the 18th. And we've got the North Node finally taking up residence in Taurus on the 19th. Simultaneously, the South Node moves into Scorpio. Now, the South Node is where we're coming from. It's what we're bringing with us. Whereas the North Node is our destiny. It's where we're heading towards. So these energies do bring into focus the world economy. And I wonder whether the next battle post-COVID, with the unpredictability of Uranus, I think that is imploring us to be personally mindful of our financial security. Before I move on to your individual zodiac signs, let's just spend a moment talking about the retrograde Mercury, because it's funny, when Mercury goes retrograde, I see lots of posts on Facebook, everyone getting sort of in a tiz and worrying and thinking, oh my God, this is terrible, everything's going to go topsy-turvy and it's all going to go wrong. No, it's not. Because, you know, Mercury retrograde can be a great gift if you allow it to be. Because it gives us a chance to regroup, review, reform, and revisit. So use this Mercury retrograde energy to reflect on what you may have overlooked in whatever area of your life. And when I do the individual zodiac signs, I'm going to tell each sign where the focus of energy is for their Mercury retrograde, their particular focus. Embrace the delays and blocks that Mercury brings. See them as your opportunities to redefine your goals and find better ways to communicate your ideas. Now, Mercury goes direct on the 4th of February, so we've got 2 or 3 weeks of this retrograde energy. And then by the time Mercury goes direct, we have to wait for it to have moved past the point where it's gone retrograde in Aquarius before it moves into new territory. So any astrologers out there, we know that Mercury is currently conjunct Saturn in Aquarius, so it's got to get back to where it was when Saturn was there before it starts moving into new territory. But you know, there's a lot of good things to look forward to. There really are, because the current energies are shifting their positions with each other, and they're going to bring new and innovative ideas to the table. And this is as we head towards Aquarius season, which starts very soon, next week, on January the 20th. So there's a lot to look forward to. And, you know, people asked me about this year, is it going to be like the last couple of years? Well, no, it's not. It is going to be different. I do feel we're at the tail end of the dramas that have unfolded over the last 2.5 years. And I think that by mid-year, we're going to see a very different vista. I'm not saying it won't be without its shocks, surprises, and upsets, but they'll be of a very different structure that we have to deal with. And you know what? All change is good. Change is growth. And we should embrace change. Now let's move on to your individual signs. Let's start, as usual, with Aries. So for you, Aries, this full moon is in the part of your chart that's connected with your home. And it's to do with family. So what has been going on with family with your home life, where does someone need to step up or step down? Do you need to step up or step down? And, you know, the sun is in your 10th house, Capricorn, at the moment. This is the part of your chart to do with your career. How is your working life, your career, your sort of life and soul purpose, how does that need to transform? What can you take from this full moon energy to change that? And the Mercury retrograde for you is in Aquarius, and it's in the part of your chart that's to do with your with larger groups of people, with the community at large, with your hopes, your wishes and your dreams. I think, Aries, it's time to look or re-look at something you'd kind of put on the shelf. It's time to take it down, blow the dust off it, and see whether it's got any mileage in it. That's what I think that Mercury retrograde is like there. Because later in the month, Mercury will actually retrograde back into Capricorn, into your 10th house, which is your career house. So there'll also be chances then, maybe you get a job opportunity which you hadn't looked at or you'd thought about, and it suddenly comes back to the table. So let's move on to Taurus. So for you, Taurus, and this is for me because I'm Taurus, I'm Sun Taurus, the full moon in Cancer is in the 3rd house. Now this is the part of the chart to do with thinking, to do with communication, to do with our local community. Whereas the Sun conjunct Pluto is opposite, in the part of the chart that is very much to do with higher learning, with communicating with the self about one's knowledge. It's about journeys, it's about traveling within. And for me, I think this Cancer full moon is asking Taurus to look at where they can actually say, this is completed. I can start embracing something new. I can bring something new into my life, which would enhance my learning. So maybe you need to start looking at what you can also add to your kind of your basket of tricks of all the things that you've learned. The Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, of course, is in your 10th house of career. So I think opportunities may come back to you to do with something possibly online, something that could be about communication online, and you will have like a second bite of the apple. Gemini. Okay. For you, it's in the part of your chart that is connected with your finances, your possessions, any property you've got. If you're trying to sell a property, Gemini, then this full moon could see some kind of resolution, and it would transform your financial situation and your status. It would mean you can put some money into, say, pensions or investments that you would really like to kind of think forward to make this work for you in the future. So it's actually quite an interesting full moon for you. The Mercury retrograde, Gemini, is in the part of your chart that is Aquarius, which is the part of the chart that is to do with travel. So if there are journeys or travel that you've been wanting to book or make, you might just find that they get delayed. For whatever reasons we can't perhaps know, but something will come up that just... But you know, as I said in the overview, take all delays and blockages as a gift. Mercury is your ruler, Gemini. If it's slowing you down, it's conjunct Saturn, and Saturn slows things down, then take that as a gift. It's preventing you moving into something or going away towards something which it's not the right time to do. Now, Cancer, so this full moon is in your sign. We all have a full moon in our sign, in our sun sign, and we have it once a year. Sometimes twice a year, because the lunar cycle or the lunar calendar is a little bit shorter than the kind of Gregorian, kind of traditional Roman calendar that we all follow. So the full moon in Cancer for you brings in the energy of what do you need to change in yourself? What do you need to let go of? What does not, and I use this term often, and it gets used a lot by lots of people, but I am going to say it, what does not serve you now for you to take forward in your life? What would transform a very close personal relationship by you letting go of something to do with yourself? That's what I feel this moon is about for you, Cancer. The Mercury retrograde in Aquarius is in the part of your chart to do with other people's money. So if you're waiting for some unpaid bills to come in, now would be a good time to send out a reminder, because actually that might just do the trick. Leo. So for you, this is in that private part of your chart, the part of your chart that is where you can do some inner reflection. It's where you feel very closed in at times and restricted. And, you know, for Leo, that is ruled by the sun, and the sun, of course, at this full moon is in your 6th house, shining its light on the moon in your 12th. You know, Leo, you find this quite tough, because it's like it's highlighting areas of your life that you really need to pay attention to. And they are, 1, your health, your physical health. Are you taking care of yourself with exercise? Are you taking care of your mental health? What are you doing to feed yourself? Cancer is a sign of feeding. Cancer feeds, it nurtures. How are you nurturing yourself, Leo? Because you need to really, really look at what you can do about that. And this Mercury retrograde, of course, is in the part of your chart that's to do with significant relationships. Are you hearing from somebody from the past? Is there someone you'd like to go to and revisit and talk about something again, but in a different way, because you've given it a lot of thought? So that's part of the energy of this Mercury retrograde for you. Virgo. This is in the part of your chart to do with the larger community, to do with your hopes and wishes. Is there something that you've been working on that you really do need to complete? Because I think the Sun conjunct Pluto in Capricorn in the part of your chart to do with creative projects is really kind of urging you, come on, enough is enough, enough detail. Finish, get it finished. So this full moon is giving you that opportunity, but it's up to you if you actually take it, because of course we've got that Mercury retrograde in the part of your chart that's to do with your day-to-day routine. So you know what I think this is telling you, Virgo? You've got to go back and look at something you've written about, looked at, thought about a little while back, because that might hold the key to how you can proceed forward in February once Mercury goes direct again. So let's now move on to Libra. So this is about your career and your soul journey, your life path. So it also brings in the energy of your home and family. I think something has to give. None of us can have it all. We all try to have it all, but it doesn't quite pan out that way. And this full moon is asking you to let go of one particular thing, because it's like the cost is too high. The cost is too high to your quality of life at home. Now you'll have to work out for yourself, Libra, what that's about. But for you, the Mercury retrograde in Aquarius is in the part of your chart to do with fun and creativity, parties, romance, all those kind of interesting things. And I think you just want to slow down a bit. I think you've been very busy, Libra, and I think you'd like a chance to just sit down, kick back, and just have some fun and reconnect with friends that you haven't spoken to for a while. So that's the kind of energy that's around. Make the most of it, Libra. Right, Scorpio. So this is in the part of your chart, this full moon, which is to do with long distance travel. And it brings in the energy of communication from the third house. I do feel that you want to make some big changes in your life. I think you have felt quite restricted of late by events in your life. And the Sun conjunct Pluto, the Sun shedding its light not only on the moon, but highlighting the transformative energies of Pluto, is like it's saying, I'm not sure I can do this anymore. I think I've had enough. You again, as I've said to a lot of the other signs, have to decide for yourself what that resonates with. But the Mercury retrograde for you is in the part of your chart that's to do with your home and family. Who is it you want to reconnect with that events and circumstances have kind of prevented you having that kind of contact? Because that seems to be something of the energy that's around. Now let's move on to Sagittarius. Sagittarius. This is about joint finances for you, this full moon. It's about anything that's to do with pensions or legacies. And what it's saying is there is something that needs to come to some kind of completion. And once it's reached that completion stage, it can transform your particular economic circumstances. Now, if it's not that, because obviously every Sagittarian in the world doesn't have an issue going on to do with their finances, then it's actually about transformation. Something in you needs to change. You need to let go of something that is holding you back from valuing yourself, from seeing how worthwhile you are, how important you are. You know, sometimes we are so hard on ourselves, we forget to look at our qualities and our good points. And I do feel this moon is asking you to value you. The Mercury retrograde is very much about communication for you because it's in that part of your chart to do with communication, and it's kind of saying, I think you're going to get sort of letters that have gone astray or Christmas cards that never arrived. It's going to be all sorts of interesting communication that got left behind. Or you might hear from people in your locality that have been out of touch. So it's a kind of going back, reviewing and rethinking Mercury retrograde for you. Now, Capricorn, for you, of course, this is very much about your relationships, because the full moon is in that part of your chart. Is there a relationship that has run out of legs? Is there a relationship that needs to drastically change? Is there something you need to let go of, whether that's on a personal level or a business level? Because you've got the sun in your sign at the moment. It's right towards the end degree, because the sun will move into Aquarius on the 20th. And I do feel with the sun conjunct Pluto, this is also shedding light on you and how you want to change to move forward. Let's also look at this Mercury retrograde for you, because it is in the second house of finance for you. So you might find that either you come across some bills that you forgot about and haven't paid, you get some reminders. It may also be that some money comes back to you that you had forgotten about. And so that could be part of that energy. And then when Mercury moves back into your sign, into Capricorn, I think it's a time for you to really review and reflect about who you are and how you want to move forward for the next part of the year. Now we come on to Aquarius, because the full moon for you is in the part of your chart that is about your day-to-day routine, your health routines, your exercise, and how you serve others. So Aquarius, how do you serve others, let alone yourself? Because the full moon is suggesting you need to make some changes in that area. And with the sun conjunct Pluto in Capricorn, in that part of your chart where you feel quite restricted and private, where you are being almost forced by the power of Pluto to go within and change. I think you need to, it feels like that this full moon is giving you a bit of a shake-up. It's saying change. You need to change the way you are doing your day-to-day routine. And that will serve you well. And of course, the Mercury retrograde is in your sign, in your first house. So I think this is giving you a wonderful opportunity to just take some time out and think about you. Think about how you can make yourself better at communication, how you can more actively listen, maybe reflect on whether you've been a little bit too introvert lately, Aquarius, into yourself and not so much listening to what your loved ones might be saying. So just bear that in mind, Aquarius. And finally, of course, we come to Pisces. I'm just going to have a sip of water before I do Pisces. Okay, so Pisces, this is about fun, but this is also about, you just need to kind of tone it down a bit. The fun needs to be at home. The fun needs to be with your family. The fun needs to be with the people that you consider your family. Because through that, you're going to get ideas. You're going to get ideas of how to move forward with certain projects and ideas that you've got. Because I think you've got a lot of things, Pisces, kind of bubbling away under the surface. And I just think it could be very interesting for you, this full moon. So pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to the images that appear from you for you out of perhaps meditation, for example, because they could have the clue or the key to where you should go next, especially as Mercury is retrograde in the part of your chart that's to do with the inner you. This is so much a super time for that inner reflection, Pisces. You can really capitalize on this full moon and this Mercury retrograde energy. You know, with astrology, we look at it, we get the sort of the skeleton of it. We have to turn it round and bend it and work with it. If we work with it, and this is for all the signs, if we work with it, we can really gain the maximum benefit of these cosmological energies. So on that note, before my voice goes totally, I'm getting a bit croaky, I'd like to say thank you so much for joining me. If you've come in late or you've missed this, then please, you can catch up via my YouTube channel from tomorrow. And whilst you're on my YouTube channel, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. That'd be super cool. And also, if you would like a one-to-one with me for astrology and life coaching to look at your natal chart and your year ahead, then please contact me through my website. I did put it in the description box above this video, and for YouTube, it's in the description box below the video. And once again, I'd like to say thank you so much to Gozo in the house, the wonderful team that have supported me from the beginning. Without them, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. So to the team at Gozo in the house, God bless you. You're amazing. Do check them out for their online magazine. It's brilliant. Okay, so once again, thank you so much. I wish you well, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.